Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are back with my 1964 Volvo 1800S, and in today's video we are doing something that I've been looking forward to for such a long time, and that is washing it. So since I've owned this thing, I have not washed it yet, and it is absolutely covered in pollen and dust from sitting in the garage. Not a drop of water has ever hit this thing since I've owned it. So today we're really going to be seeing on how good of shape this paint is in, because we're not only are we going to be washing it, but we're also going to be doing a good detail on the paint as well. And this thing should hopefully shine up, because it looks like it's in pretty decent condition, but it is hard to tell. And it looks better on camera than it does in real life, but this thing is just completely covered in dust. Back here you can see a lot of it just from opening and closing the trunk. But should be a really satisfying time getting this thing shined up, because I think tomorrow I'm going to take it to its first car show, and that should be pretty fun. I'm also going to try and polish up these wheels a little bit and maybe do a section on the bumper and see how it comes out, because this does have a decent amount of chrome on it, and I was kind of thinking just taking off all the chrome and getting it all just replated, because that will look really nice, but that is pretty expensive. So we'll see basically how well it could clean up, because the chrome is also just very dusty. It's just covered in pollen, so this should be pretty satisfying. But I want to go ahead and jump straight into it. Just super straightforward. We're gonna go ahead and just wash this thing, hand wash, no brush or anything. That sponge, make sure we don't scratch it up at all. Make sure that we definitely keep this paint nice and wet, because I do not want this thing to scratch up at all. And it being a black car, you see every imperfection in this thing. So I'm sure there's gonna be a few imperfections that we're gonna find along the way, because obviously it's not perfect. But once we're done washing it, we're gonna let it dry. Maybe I'll take it for a quick spin, and then we're gonna get to the wax and the detail, which is definitely gonna take a good amount of time. But I've used this product before in the past, and it is absolutely insane. So that being said, let's go ahead, jump into this wash, and then continue from there. Alrighty guys, so I just finished washing this thing. It is completely dry, and this thing cleans up really, really nice. The paint does have some imperfections here and there, but for the most part, this thing is pretty clean. I want to try and get some imperfections. You can see some over here, some minor scratching and everything like that, but the car in general is in pretty good shape paint-wise, which is pretty good. Back here you can see a few extra, which is to be expected. It's an old car. But now that it is all clean, what I'm going to be doing is applying this McGuire's Tech Wax 2.0. I've used this stuff before on my MG and my truck, and the results are absolutely insane. So I'm going to be using it on this, and it should come out just as good, if not better, because I think this has better paint than the MG and my truck. So we're going to go panel by panel, you know, not just do the whole one side and then buff it all out at the same time, but step by step. This definitely takes a good bit, but the results are well worth it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Finally finished fully washing this thing, completely detailing it, doing some chrome polish in places that I can. I tried it on the bumpers, and it definitely looks a little bit better, but I mean, these bumpers are a little bit banged up anyway. But the wheels definitely cleaned up nice. Definitely happy with that, but this paint looks absolutely amazing. The wax just added like a crazy good like depth to it. Like, it was pretty good before when we just washed it, but now with the wax, a lot of the imperfections like you could hardly see anymore. You can see how deep and rich that black is now. So now that we got this thing looking good, like I said, tomorrow I think I'm going to take it to its first car show. I'm probably not going to record too much. I might just do a couple clips here and there. But I think it definitely should be a pretty good hit because I've been going to this car show since I was a kid and I've never ever seen one of these here. So I think it's definitely going to turn some heads. But wow, I just cannot stop looking at this thing. The interior is looking great. But anyway guys, I'm going to be ending off this video here. Super easy, you know, laid back, just relaxing video for you guys today. But the end result, definitely worth it. Definitely took a while. I didn't basically record everything because it's kind of just repetitive. I'm definitely happy how this thing turned out. But anyway guys, with that being said, follow my social medias. They'll be in the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, friends with the channel. Alrighty guys, so we were back here a few days later with the Volvo, and I took it to the car show. I didn't really record much, but it went really well. It was a massive hit, and the paint still looks amazing. A ton of people came up asking about the car, but I've definitely been driving this thing more and more, and one thing I need to do is change the oil, see how it looks, because, I mean, I've only driven this thing maybe 3 times since I've owned it, and I've been driving it more and more, and it's summertime, it's really hot, and the oil pressure does get fairly low once it's at complete operating temperature for quite a while. It gets a little bit lower than I would like. The engine sounds very healthy. There's no knocks, pings, anything like that. So I don't think it's a mechanical issue. I think it's more of just a maintenance issue that potentially there is a thinner oil in this thing because I did get it around winter time to beginning of springtime. So there might be a thinner oil in it, like a 1030 or something like that. And what I picked up is Castrol GTX 2050 for this thing. And the reason I'm running Castrol is because some of you may know, some of you may not know, this guy Irv Gordon, he drove a Volvo P1800 and it's the highest mileage car in the world, over 3 million miles, and all he really did was keep him on maintenance and run Castrol on it. And I saw something online regarding the oil that he uses, and in summertime he uses 2050. Mid-season where it's like hot but also cold, he uses 1040 I believe, or 1540, and then wintertime he uses 1030. So I have a feeling that there's 1030 in this thing. Cold starts, it's perfectly fine, 50 plus pounds of oil pressure, but with how hot it is right now, we are in summertime. I want to run a thicker oil in this thing. And he swears by Castrol. Castrol did a whole thing with him in his car and basically took apart the engine and saw how it was, and it looked absolutely perfect. If you guys don't know who he is, definitely look it up. Unfortunately, he passed away, but the car is still living and around to this day. I think it's in a museum, but I definitely am just going to listen to him. Volvo recommended to run Castrol, so that's what I'm going to do. And the oil in this thing is not old by any means. It definitely had a newer oil change, you know, prior to when I got it. I mean, the oil filter on it is brand new, and I am just going to keep that oil filter in it for now because I'm going to be ordering, well, I already ordered, it's on the way, a genuine Volvo oil filter, which is what Irv Gordon ran in his Volvo. So I'm just going to do what he did and hopefully have the same luck with my engine as he did with his. So guys, let's go ahead, get underneath the car, drain this oil, see how it looks, and then put in this new Castrol GTX.
Doesn't look too bad.
Alright, so the drain plug has a magnetic tip, and there wasn't any metal on it, but there was a ton of sludge. This drain pan was kind of dirty to begin with, but definitely dark, definitely dirty, but no big metal pieces or anything like that, which is good. All those particles were in the pan already. It was, as you can see, it was very dusty, but definitely pretty thin. I don't think that this was a thicker oil. I think this is more for winter, like a 1030. So I'm definitely glad that we're doing this. So guys, the oil looked okay. It was definitely a little bit dirty, but there was no metal flaking and didn't look like powdery or anything like that, which was good. But there's definitely low oil. I put it in a gallon container and only filled it up about halfway, and that's about 2 quarts, which is definitely not enough. This engine doesn't take a lot. It takes about 3 to 4, roughly in the middle, somewhere around there, closer to 4. It doesn't leak at all, but it's definitely been at least over a year since it's had this oil in it. So once we put in this oil, definitely gonna keep an eye on it even more from now on, just to prevent any possible issues. Let's see how much thicker this stuff looks than what came out. Oh yeah, that is way thicker. Definitely better for the summer and the heat. And plus, this is the Castrol GTX Classic. It has a high zinc content, which is better for these older engines and their camshafts. You know, if you weren't to use an oil with already a high zinc content, you could use a zinc additive like ZDDP, or I think SDP carries one, but that stuff's like honey. Oil looks good on the dipstick. Alright, so now that we're all done filling this thing up, I want to go ahead and see if we have any type of oil pressure difference. Like I said before, a cold start roughly before was around 50. When it was at operating temperature, it looked, at least on the gauge, like 20. Like it was pretty low. But I think right off the bat, we're going to be able to tell on the cold start if it's better than 50. Because 50 is right in the middle. The rest, there's no numbers, so you just kind of have to guesstimate if it's good or not. But we should be able to tell right away if it's better. All right, here we go. This is a couple-week cold start. So I'm going to let the fuel pump prime up a little bit. Give it a little bit of choke. Yeah, pretty good. Oh yeah, oil pressure is definitely way better. Before it was at like 50 flat on. Now we're looking closer to probably 60, 65. Engine sounds really, really good. No valve train noise at all. I think this engine's definitely gonna be way happier. No leaks underneath. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off quick now that it's ran just to double check that oil. I don't know how well you guys will be able to tell because the oil is obviously brand new and pretty clear and clean, but we were right below the max line, so perfect. So guys, now I'm gonna be wrapping up the video. Super easy, laid back video. Got this thing all cleaned up. Got that fresh oil in it for the summer. And I think each season I'm gonna do exactly what he did and change the viscosity depending on the weather. Because I think if I run that year round in the winter time, it's gonna be like way too thick and just cause a lot of resistance inside the engine, and shouldn't be good. The Volvo 1800 owner's manual says that you can run 1030 year round, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. It definitely seems to like it better, and obviously there's proof out there that it works very well. So with that being said, I'm gonna be ending off this video here. Follow my social medias, they will be on the action of this video, Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share for the channel.